Hey guys, mkwaje, mumeshindaje? Hope you guys have been well. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Kindly watch the video to an end. For the newcomers, welcome. My name is Chemu and welcome to my YouTube channel. Kindly consider subscribing down there so that you can be part of my family. For my OGs, guys, thank you so much for the love and the support that you've already showed me in my previous videos. I really appreciate so much. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for liking my video. Thank you so much for leaving a comment down there. To be sincere, guys, I really enjoyed reading your comments. I really enjoyed responding to your comments. Thank you, thank you so much. So, guys, when you see me seated here, I have a story. I have a story for you. So, uh, I did a video called my first video, and on that video, I told you guys a story about my primary life experience. So it seems like you guys loved it. Seems like you loved it. Thank you so much for the love. So I'm here again to give you a story. This time round, Chatusonge Bele. I want to give you a story now about my high school experience. So when I cleared primary school in Rehema Junior Mission Primary School, I joined high school. Um, I don't want to mention the name of the school that I joined because of some reasons, because of the things that I'm going to say here, uh, why I left that school. So I feel like I don't want to mention the name of the school here, but I'm going to give you a story. So I joined a high school. It was a girls' school. um, I was so happy, I was so excited when I was called to join that school. So I know you guys can relate, you know, the feeling of transitioning from primary school to secondary school, that feeling. And I remember during our time, we used to join high school in February, not like nowadays, people just clear primary school in November and then by January they're joining high school. So during our time, we were joining high school in February. So I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait for February to reach so that I can go and join the high school, enjoy that school, high school. So the time came, and this time I remember it was my dad who took me to school for admission. So we went to my dad because my mom was working far away. So it was my dad who took me to school. And I remember in the same school, I used to have an aunt. My aunt was in Form 4, a sister to my dad. So I felt like I was secured. Though I remember when my dad was leaving after being admitted, I felt so bad. I almost cried when I was telling him bye. I felt so bad. I felt like going back with him home. So, but my aunt was there, so my aunt received me. He was with me. He took me around. He showed me there and there. And I remember my first evening prep I spent in Form 4 class. So remember Form 1, can you come up? Form 1, ako kwa class here, Form 4. Yes. So that was me. That was my first experience. So I was given a set book for Kiswahili. What was it called? Kitumbua kimeingia mchangani. I think that was the book that they were doing at that time. So I was given to read. So I kept myself busy with the book until it was time to go back to the dormitory. So guys, in this school, I remember we were sharing beds. I think we were too many, so the dormitories that were there could not accommodate all of us. So we were sharing beds. So, and the dormitories were divided into cubes. So I remember in every cube it was accommodating around 8. Some cubes were 8 students, some were 16 students. So we were sharing bed. So I was sharing a bed with this friend of mine. Of course, she became my friend. But when we were joining, of course, we were strangers, but we became friends. So I was sharing a bed with my friend. Um, so I remember me nilikuwa napenda kusoma. I used to love reading so much. So I could wake up very early in the morning and I could go for morning prep very early in the morning. So many times I could leave my friend behind still sleeping. So I always assumed that since she's the last one to wake up, definitely she was going to spread the bed. But I don't know what happened that time. One day because she didn't spread the bed. So I remember during class time we were called to go to the dormitory because we didn't spread our bed. because I remember the rule was when you leave the dormitory in the morning for morning prep, you were not allowed to go back to the dormitory unless you are a dorm cleaner. So our bed was not spread, so we were called to go to the dormitory. But guys, we were not the only one, we were many. So we were told to go. The teacher on duty told us to go remove our mattresses and our blankets, and then we take them to the assembly ground. And I remember our assembly were in the middle of our classes, so everybody could see you. Even the teachers coming out of the staff room going for their lessons, they were able to see us. So you can imagine we were sleeping on the sun in the assembly. It's very hot. We've covered ourselves. Everybody was just staring at us. I felt so bad. It was not a good experience. I felt so bad. You can imagine being in a form one. You're still in form one. And I remember, guys, when I was in form one, I was selected the class prefect. So I was the class prefect. So you can imagine the embarrassment that comes with that. You are the prefect and you're here doing punishment, sleeping on the sun just because you didn't spread your bed. Basic things. It was so embarrassing, but it was what it was, because that was the life in high school. Like the punishment was kitu kama kawaida. So we slept there for I think around maybe almost 3 hours sleeping on the sun. We sweat inside there because it was so hot. So after that we were told to take our mattresses back to the dormitory and then we spread our bed. So that was okay, that was one of the experience, the punishment thing. So I remember also, like I told you guys, when I was in primary school, I used to love reciting poems. I was in music festival, I was in drama. So also when I joined this school, I also joined music festival. I was in music, I was in drama. So, and you remember, guys, I don't know if it was only our school, but also other schools, the way people used to say that people in drama, people in music festival, they are dandas because they don't study. Because, of course, yeah, it's true. Okay, not that like it's true, people were dandas, but it's true. Most of the time, hatuko tunasoma, especially during second term, because second term used to be the time for music. Most of the time, most of the evening prep when people are in class studying, as we're in the dining hall, this is practicing dancing, singing, yeah, when others are in class studying. So, and also during time for music festival, we could leave school and go. Even sometimes we could go for like 2 or 3 days or even a week, depending on where the function or the music festival were taking place. So you can imagine most of the time we could miss the classes. So people were like, hey, what's a music festival? I was so mangy, when I waste time for music, huko wakiimbaimba. So me, I was there to prove them wrong. Because I remember I used to work very hard. So when I miss my evening class, I always ensure that I wake up very early in the morning and I could go to class and study. And by the way, I could perform very well because I remember I used to perform very well. I could appear top 10. And I remember my music teacher, our music teacher was so proud of me. He was so happy. He was like, yeah, you, Mercy, you're proving to them that also music festival sit under. And I was also proud of myself. So um, I was in music festival. I enjoyed every bit. So, so to what happened now, the reason why I left the school. So I remember when I was in Form 2, at that time when I was already promoted from being a class prefect and I was now the administration prefect. So almost every teacher knew me because I was in charge of the administration. And of course the administration um, included the mistress office, the mistress office, the bursar's office, the staff room, all those. So everybody knew me. Even the headmistress used to like me so much. So I remember when I was in Form 2, so the last time in Form 2, I don't know guys if it was only our school, but I think this was common in many schools, the net runner thing. So I remember there was this story people used to say, hey, kuna night runners, kuna mtu anakimbianga usiku, there's someone going from one cube to another shaking beds. People could say their bed was shaken last night. Some were saying that their nails were cut. They could wake up in the morning, their nails have been cut. I remember people used to plait their hair at night with the thread, like the Uzi, so that in the morning you just remove them and you comb your hair. So some were like, you wake up in the morning and your hair is undone and you had plaited in the night. There were so scary stories about this, the Red Runner thing. that I was expecting at that time. We were sharing the cube. She was in my cube. And I remember I was so scared. Many nights I could not sleep. And it was now becoming a routine, like every night people were screaming because you could hear some people screaming in another cube. So when people scream, everybody started screaming in the whole dormitory, so that we could not even sleep. So everybody would scream. So since our school headmistress and our school deputy headmistress was staying in school, they could come to our dormitory. So people were called to go to the corridor. Then we could pray. We could pray. We could pray. It started becoming like normal, like everyday thing. People, like, there could be screams, so you could not even sleep. So I remember the last the second last day before we could close school. It was now the cube next to my cube. I remember them screaming, somebody screaming, saying, Shindwe, Shindwe, Shindwe. I couldn't sleep. I was so scared. I was so scared. I was so scared. And everybody started screaming in the whole dormitory. So that day, as usual, the headmistress and the deputy headmistress came. We were told to go to the corridor. We prayed, we prayed, we prayed. Then after that, we went back to sleep, and nothing happened until morning. But of course, we could not sleep comfortably. We were sleeping with a lot of fears. So nothing happened until morning. So the following day, I remember the following night now, so that was the last night so that we could close school. Wow, I remember that night. Even me, guys, I had that. To be sincere, you nearly scare. I had it. There was a cat in the dormitory, and this cat was crying like a baby. It was making noise, crying like a baby, like a baby. It was so scary. I couldn't sleep. And then there was somebody walking in the corridor um, with heels. You know when you put on your heels and then you're walking, that sound that it makes, like kong 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 kong. So that is the sound that we could hear, like kong 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 kong. My God, it was so scary. I couldn't sleep. And it's not only me that had that, because the following day in the morning, everybody was like, wow, yesterday there was a cat in the dormitory that was crying like a baby. There was somebody walking in the corridor with in heels and he was making some noise. It was so scary. I was so scared. I couldn't wait for the morning to reach to go home. So I remember that day we went home. When I went home, that was the first thing that I told my dad. I told my dad that, like, wow, we're not even sleeping in school. There is an runner shaking beds. People are screaming every night. People are waking up when their hairs has been undone. People are waking up when their nails has been cut. It's so scary. We cannot even sleep. I don't want to go back to that school. Me, I'm scared. I'm scared. And my dad agreed. So I remember when school reopens, so me, I came to go because I told my dad that I was not going to that school because me, I'm scared. I can't not even sleep. I even don't have peace. I can't even study because I'm scared. Then my dad was like, okay, I'm going to look for another school. So I remember that day my dad left, he went, and then he came back in the evening and then he was like, yeah, I've gotten a school for you and they want you to go and do interview. So I was like, hey, okay. So the following day in the morning, I woke up very early in the morning with my dad because my dad had to take me to that school and then leave me there and then go to work. So my dad took me. So I remember when we reached, I was so surprised, guys, because the school is not what I expected it to be. The school was a mixed school. So I was like, wow, me, I don't want this school. It's a mixed school. So I told my dad, do that, but this school is a mixed school. Me, I don't want. Then my dad was like, yeah, it's a mixed school, but you see, girls have their classes and boys have their classes. So we're only sharing the dining room. Then I was like, either way, even if we're not sharing classes, but by the end of the day, we're in the same compound. By the end of the day, we're sharing the dining room. Me, I don't think I want it. So then I was like, anyway, let me just do this interview. But I told myself what I was going to do. I was going to do this interview, but I'll make sure that I fail. So we were called, we were told, we were taken to a class that we were doing the exam, we were given the exam. I think it was maths, English, and Kiswahili. So I was like, back in my mind, I was like, I'm not going to pass this exam. Me nitafanya tu for the sake. But I don't know, guys. Anyway, we did the exam. I remember during lunchtime, we were told to go to the dining and eat lunch with the rest. So I could see girls were interacting with boys. Okay, it's not bad. I'm not saying that it was bad interacting with them, but I think me, I was not comfortable with that because I was like, but even if they're saying girls have their own class, but still girls are still interacting with boys. So boys being boys, there they were wanatukujia hapo na mistari. So I was like, no, me, I don't want this school. So we ate our lunch, we went back, finished our exam, and then we were told to go to the field and wait for our results. So we waited, but unfortunately that day they didn't finish marking our exam. So we were told if we were comfortable because it was becoming late. So they told us if we were comfortable spending the night there, so that tomorrow we can go back to the school. You can go back. I mean, you can go back home. Sorry, guys. I think it's the power. It's off. Anyway, we continue. So we were told that if we're okay spending the night there, then you can go back to school. We can go back home tomorrow. Sorry for the confusion. So we can go back we can go back home tomorrow. So me, I was like, no, me, I'm going back home. So I left there. It was late. I reached home late. So I found my dad already home. Then my dad was like, "Hey, how was the exam?" I told my dad that it was not bad. So I told my dad that we've been told we go back tomorrow and then we get our results. So my dad was like, it's okay, you can stay at home, then we'll go and get the results for you. So I was like, okay. So I waited. In the evening, my dad come back. My dad was so happy. He was like, hey, congratulations, you passed and you've been admitted. I have the admission letter with me here. I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no, no, no. Of course, I didn't tell him like that face to face. I was just like, oh no, inside my heart, I was like, oh no, me, I don't want to go to that school. So am I even going to break this news to my dad? And the way he's already happy about it. So I went to sleep. The following day, my dad was like, today I'll go and ask for the permission so that tomorrow I don't go to work and then you can go with you shopping for the things that is needed. I was like, oh no, I don't want to go to that school. So I said, before my dad goes ahead and asks for that permission, let me just tell him I don't want to go to that school. So I told my dad, me, I don't want to join that school because it's a mixed school. Guys, if you watch my video, my first video, when I was telling you the story about my primary school experience, remember the time that I told my dad again that I was not going back to the same school that I joined. My dad was so furious. So the same thing happened. My dad was so furious. He was like, if you don't want to go to school, you stay at home. Huwezi tusumbua ukiwa primary and then pia tena kuja tusumbue ukiwa high school. Kama hutaki kusoma, stay at home. My dad was so furious. Wow. So I remember, guys, at home, it was only me and my dad because my mom used to work far away. So it was only me and my dad at home. So guys, here I am telling my dad I'm not going to that school after all that effort. My dad was so furious. For a whole week, we were not talking to each other. Me and my dad, we were not talking to each other. So, for a whole week, we could just stare at each other, not talking to each other. My dad could just come back from work in the evening. He would not even say hi to me. We just stare at each other. Actually, even it's me who was trying to avoid him most of the time. So I could just go cook food, take the food to the table, then disappear. I go and sleep. So for a whole week, we were not talking to each other. It was so weird. It was so awkward. It was a silly moment. It was so bad. At some point when I was like, no, I think I'm going to go to my grandmother's and stay there because I can't stand this. So I talked to my mom. I told my mom, of course, my mom knew that I had gone for an interview. So I told my mom, yes, I did the interview. I got the chance to join the school, but me, I'm not going to the school. I'm not going to join that school because it's a mixed school. I'm not comfortable. So my mom, of course, my mom had already talked with my dad. I think my dad had told her that he had given up with me. He was not going to do anything again. If I was not going to join the school that I've gotten, I stay at home. So my dad was like, wacha akae nyumbani. So my mom again came to my rescue, just like he did in the during primary school. So my mom decided to go and look for a school. At that time, guys, my mom was working in Nakuru, so he decided to look for a school for me there. So he looked for a school and he actually found a school for me. So he told me that he has found a school and if I was okay, I go do the interview. So I was like, cool, I was very happy. So he talked to my dad, he managed to convince my dad for me to go and do the interview, and my dad was like, it's okay. So I traveled to Nakuru, I went, my mom took me to the school, went to do the interview, and actually I passed. So actually the school was called St. Maria Goretti Girls. So I loved the school. It was a girls' school. I was so much okay with it. So I joined the school. My mom my mom took me to the school. I was admitted. My mom managed to convince my dad. My dad was able to continue paying my school fees as much as he was furious. So I joined the school and I was happy. So as much as I joined the school and I found that people there was a bit ahead of us. So I tried my best. I worked very hard. I wanted to prove to my dad that Dad, it's not that I didn't want school, it's not that I didn't want to continue with my education, but it's only that I was not comfortable with the school that you wanted to take me. So I was like, I'm going to prove to you that I'm still interested with education and I'm going to work very hard. So I worked very hard. And I remember during the Parents' Day, the first Parents' Day, my mom and my dad came and they were so impressed with my performance. And my dad was proud of me again. So I worked very hard. I performed very hard, very well in school. As much as the school was very strict, because guys, you know Catholic schools. This was a Catholic school and it was so strict. I didn't mind about that. So I studied there. I did my Form 3 there. I did my Form 4 there, and I cleared my school there. So guys, that was my experience. So I almost left school in Form 2. Karibu nimalizie shule, nimalizie masomo yangu Form 2 because of the experiences that I went through in those other schools. So guys, that is the story of my secondary school experience. That is what I went through. Those are the things that I put my parents, the stress that I put my parents into. Of course, they were not happy about it at some point, but of course, they were able to accept it. And nikamaliza shule, I cleared Form 4 there, and I proceeded to the next level. So guys, I hope you've loved my story. I hope that you've enjoyed my story. I also want to hear from you. You can also share your experience, your high school experience. How was it? Let me also know that if you had those the net runners thing in your school, let me get to know about it. Otherwise, guys, I really appreciate so much. Thank you so much for sticking by. Thank you so much for watching the video to an end. Thank you so much for showing me love. Do not forget to subscribe. If you not subscribe, kindly show me some love there by liking this video and leave a comment down there. Say something. Say something. Atasema to hello. I'll say hello back. Otherwise, thank you so much, guys. Until next time. Bye, guys.